Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Swamp Rose, if this is your first time here. And today I'm continuing my true crime podcast. We cover the Idaho 4 case, or the case against Brian Kohlberger. And today we have a status conference coming up. So I'm going to be streaming that for my members earlier, but I thought I'd go live right now and just talk about some of the new documents or what to expect. I also just premiered a video, if you didn't catch it. It's continuing the theme of somewhat debunking mainstream media myths regarding this case. So if you want to check that out too, I highly recommend it, and I'll link it below. So I'm starting out with this YouTube channel that I'm displaying, and I just wanted to check the live chat. Oh, Angel D, I hope you're still awake. If not, I hope to catch you as part of the replay crew. And I see we have WSU Mom Kim here starting out with some questions. So I really appreciate that. And we're going to get to those questions in a second. So what I wanted to show you was this new YouTube channel, because if you haven't actually seen it in the court documents, you might not have known that we've changed channels where they're going to be streaming this case from. So this is the Idaho 4th District Court. And I'll go ahead and copy that handle really quickly and put it in the live chat so that anyone who wants to just go watch this on the actual court webpage, they can. Okay. Okay, I'm pasting that in the comments. Oh, I didn't realize I had new comments. Oh, unfortunately, Angel D is still awake. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. But you're happy to spend your sleepless nights with me. Why, thank you. Jane, thanks for showing up for the live chat. All right, let me put this link in here. So anyone watching this now or anyone watching it in the replay, you have a link to the actual place where it's going to be streamed. It did not sound creepy. Hey, Trisha, I hope you're doing good. I hope you guys caught the live stream that I did on Trisha's channel. It was like 3 or 4 days ago, but it was really good. And it's a long live stream, so it's nice. You can put it on in the background and listen to it. But we talked about all things true crime. We talked about music. It was really fun. I have it linked in my community tab. And Echo, I thought you were, and maybe Angel can put a copy to her channel in there. As one divided we fall. Like you changed your handle. Hey Meg. Oh my gosh, I think I'm getting Chinese tonight. We're doing takeout. I was so excited. I was telling my husband about the hearing coming up, and I'm like trying to fit in my grocery trip, and he's like, why don't we do takeout tonight? I'm like, I'm going to take you up on that, baby. Karaoke. I forgot about that. Yeah, we did. We would like to do a karaoke night. I used to be a drinking woman. I don't drink at all. I haven't drank in like over a decade, but I used to go sing karaoke when I was a drinking woman, and I was telling Trisha about that. So we made arrangements for a karaoke night. So far we have P. Fox, me and Trisha are going to sing. Anyone else, let us know. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Trisha. So it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm on New York time. Actually, you know what? Let's get right into the live stream. Enough small talk and chit chat. Let's let me show you some of the documents that we're going to be looking at today. Let me put on my disguise. Okay. So I just kind of walk people through this nowadays just because I feel like people want to know the information. When I go to look for information on Brian Kohlberger, I go to this website, or you can simply Google Idaho Judicial Cases of Interest, and it's going to bring you to this website. And it's all done alphabetically if you want to find information. So you just scroll down to Brian Kohlberger right here, and he's got like a lot of documents. So, all right, here we are. So the one that begins with this courthouse is the order governing courtroom conduct. And we've gone over this, and this is an important document. Well, it's not sharing it. This is an important document because this explains the consequences to violating courtroom procedure. So like, we saw a lot of interesting things going on in the other courthouse. Lots of leaks prior to announcements. It seemed like people weren't handing things over, both on the defense and the prosecution, but there were no sanctions or punishments or reprimanding. It was just this courtroom seems to be run in a tighter ship. It also was an interesting document because I bounced it off an interview that I witnessed with Judge Hippler. And it sounds like, just judging by his actions, how quickly he filed this document, how quickly they scheduled the first hearing, and the fact that he mentions he has over 40 judges or courtrooms operating there. And he talked about in an interview that he had done in the Daybell trial, how when they need to fit a court case in, he has no problem canceling cases and rescheduling. So my thought is, after reading how tightly they run this ship, is that we're going to be looking at a court date either at the June 26th or before. I think their schedule can permit that. Certainly if Moscow's did, I think this one could too. And I'm going to go back to the chat because I know people have comments on this. You don't drink either? Good. We're spiritual warriors together. Yes, Meg P, you always have the most gorgeous profile pics. Let's put her on the spot. It's got the girl next door look. Angel D, I didn't sleep either. I felt. Oh my gosh. I hope you heal up fast and go see an occupational therapist. You can't mess around with your hands and your arms, your upper extremities. Well, we hope you get well soon. Okay, so just a note on courtroom conduct, and I wanted to read you one paragraph out of this. Okay. Any person violating the terms of any portion of this order may be removed temporarily and or permanently excluded, and any recordings, images violating the order may be seized and deleted. In addition, any person in violation may be charged with contempt pursuant to Idaho Code 18-1801 and or trespass pursuant Idaho Code section 18-708. 008. I don't know why I can't talk today. And other such charges may be appropriate. Also, imprisonment or fine may be issued. So they're talking like they mean business. So we're going through there's only like 5 and they're incredibly short documents, but we're just going through the ones that are leading up to today's status conference. Oh no, I hope the cat's okay too. Okay. All right, so let me show you what we're looking at next. So that's the notice of hearing. So we're going to skip requests to retain approval of audio, video, and recording. I'll just go over those 3 documents at once, and we're going to skip over to this because I do feel this is what everybody is the most interested in right now. It's what everybody's talking about whenever I go on YouTube. This is a brief but important document. And literally, I see like so much division in this argument. I hear people, even with the information coming out, even with these motions for Brian to wear street clothes, they're saying this is completely unconstitutional to not allow him to wear his street clothes during these hearings and stuff. So it's an interesting argument, and I think Ann Taylor takes it to that too. So let's read what she has to say. So motion for defendant to wear street clothing to all public hearings. Now, Brian Kohlberger, by and through his attorneys of record, hereby request this court to provide an order for Mr. Kohlberger to attend all public hearings in street clothing. This motion is based on the 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution in Article 1 and 1, 6, and 7, and 13 of the Idaho Constitution. This request is owing to the public nature of the case and the vast dissemination of images of Mr. Kohlberger. The United States Supreme Court in Estelle Corrections Director versus William 425 U.S. 501, 1976, recognized that causing a person to appear in front of his or her jury in jail clothing would impact the presumption of innocence. Mr. Kohlberger specifically requests that all public hearings be considered prejudicial similarly. Similarly, in the years that have passed since Estelle case was decided, technology has changed public access to the accused. The public has the ability to attend public hearings through live streaming hearings. Potential jurors are exposed to every hearing. Mr. Kohlberger, having been recently granted the change of venue due to the ongoing vast and prejudicial pretrial publicity, recognizes that the continued media coverage may impact his right to a fair and impartial jury. As such, avoiding coverage in jail clothing is one thing that can reduce prejudice. During the short time Mr. Kohlberger's transport to Ada County and drafting of this motion, Mr. Kohlberger's defense team is aware that at least 900 media stories, of which have focused on Mr. Kohlberger's recent booking photo depicting facial hair, as was placed in the record at the hearing to change venue. Expert testimony is that public interest will not wane. This testimony continues to be accurate given the extensive nature of the media coverage in the immediate past 5 days, which is now 7 days. Much of the media coverage and social media posts focus on Mr. Kohlberger's appearance. Authorizing Mr. Kohlberger to wear street clothing to all public hearings is one way to reduce potential for prejudice. Counsel for Mr. Kohlberger has had the opportunity to speak with the Ada County Sheriff's Command staff about street clothing for hearings that are able to accommodate this request if so ordered by the court. Okay. Just doing something really quickly. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know how they could even basically argue this, because we know the extensive amount of research they've done into whether there is prejudice in the community, and why would they ever, it would almost be negligent at this point, I feel, to not allow him to wear street clothing. And it, with all the impact that's been shown to us, why wouldn't we think that that's interfering with his right to have a fair trial? And we have a couple new people in chat. Thank you for joining us, DB2. Glad to see you here. But I still think the white car is the Banfield cops. The white car, what, on Linda Lane? Meg P says, I have a hard time believing he will have a fair and impartial jury. Maybe that's because I'm on YouTube too much. I tell you, like, it is a different world getting your news regarding Idaho 4 on YouTube and Twitter than getting your news about Idaho 4 when you Google it or just look at the court documents. It is intense. Hey, Gretchen, I can't believe they had to file a motion for him to wear street clothes. I always thought that that was given. Me too. Me too. And I mean, we watched the Daybell trial, same courtroom, similar high profile cases. And we saw them wear their street clothing the entire time up until the point where they were accused and put the cuffs on them. And then, they really had to put on street. Sorry, I'm changing my background. They had to put on their prison garbs in shackles. Okay, so Lastly, there is one other thing I wanted to show you guys, and then I'm going to review that video that I just released because I have a lot to say on it, and I thought maybe you guys would have some things to say on it too. The last thing I want to show you is this one right here. So this is the order on request to obtain approval to video/audio recording, because it kind of addresses this one and this one and this one. So basically, I mean, and I don't know if it was, I don't know if it was just Fox News, but Fox News put in an application to have their own cameraman. They had, it looked like it was two audiovisual engineers that applied for it, but it could have been a news reporter. I don't know. But Fox News actually put in their own motion to have a camera and audio in the courtroom. And so this is deciding on that in this document. And again, I don't know if it was just Fox or they're the only ones they decided to address in the paperwork. All right, so let me read this to you. If I can find it. All right, so the court, having considered Fox News Digital's request for approval to video and audio record, broadcast, or photograph the court proceedings under Rule 45 of the Idaho Court Administrative Rules, hereby orders that the permission to proceed in occurring on, and they didn't check anything off or give a date, was denied. The hearing will be live streamed. No other cameras or recordings will be permitted. See order governing courtroom conduct undated 9/18. It's kind of like sassing them. They're like, did you not read the thorough document we already put out? All images and audio recordings captured in the courtroom, whether before, during, or after the actual courtroom proceedings, by any pool photographer or video broadcast camera operator, shall be shared with other media organizations required by Rule 45 of Idaho Court Administrative Rules. It is so ordered. So we're just going to have one angle to the camera this time. And I mean, I just wonder, is it going to be better than the last time? Are we just going to have like the same, you know, are we not going to be able to zoom in on their faces, see their emotions, see their reactions, see the audience? It's going to be interesting to see how that setup is. If it's any indicator, what we saw in the Daybell trial, it showed a broader picture of the courtroom, and it was much closer. It also looked like it was streamed in higher quality, like it looked like it was in 4K, whereas the old live stream in Moscow looked like it was maybe in like 720. I'm just looking at the chat. So Tarot says, we were asking about the white car. He says the 1112 cam has to have all the video vehicle proof. I mean, judging by the PCA, yeah. I mean, the PCA says it immediately captures the car. It also talks about the 3-point turn that was in front of the 1122 King Road home. So if there isn't the 1112 camera, I actually have, or it could be this one too. This elusive camera. Hold on. It could be this one too. This picture I'm showing you is that arrow points to where the camera was before removed, allegedly. So it could be that one too. But something, because you see where that guy is walking, that's actually the entrance to the King Road home. Let me take down your comment just so people can see the picture. So it could be that one. It could be the 1122. Well, thank you for showing Okay, so just to continue with what Tarot was saying. Wait, I always thought they had a judge at the grand jury, but no. You know, I never really thought of that either. I had a lot of impressions about a grand jury, like that it was just like it says, like a grander version of like the stand. And then you had this larger jury that decides it. But yeah, it also blows my mind that there's no defense allowed unless it's like someone asking a question from the grand jury. You want a timestamp on Enon coming home? Well, if Linda Lane is real, shouldn't we be able to see? Wait, I don't know. Doesn't Enon live in that section, or used to live in that section? Maybe we could see it on Linda Lane. Drop it in the chat. I don't know. I have my reasons why I never researched Enon. It's because his name was involved in things. I was just, so I don't really know anything about him. He worked with a guy who went to school with the M&K, and he said he was with a coworker after work too. Yeah, I remember that interview, and he said he heard a scream as well. Oh wait, what does he say? Jack Johnstone says other channel is reporting that BK is choosing to wear the orange jumpsuit today. Wow, was that one of the channels that's close to the family? Maybe. I wonder how they would know that. I mean, I think it's interesting information. And I actually, you know what, there's one more point I want to bring up before I show you that video, and one more update when it comes to today's hearing in the proceedings. Let me bring up Christy's channel. Hold on. Just on the note that you're talking about right there. This is an interesting point. I just want to make to you guys, or hope that you find it interesting. Okay, so, all right, so I'm bringing up Christy Nevada's page. And Christy is one of my managing mods. And what I wanted to show you on here is she had, Christy had captured the new images and posted them in her community tab when BK was being transferred. Right here. Why can't I zoom in on it? It's weird. Hold on. All right, I guess I don't have to zoom in. It doesn't matter. So Jack Johnstone says the other channel is reporting BK is choosing to wear his orange jumpsuit today. Wait and see. So everybody is talking about Brian Kohlberger's picture, and like a lot of people are talking about whether they think he's handsome. One lady commented, I mean, obviously she was joking, but she's like, girls, how many of you would leave your husband for BK in my comment section? Like, people are really suggesting that he's handsome in this picture. But I think it's a psychological thing, to be perfectly honest, to everyone. And I do think he looks healthier than his previous mugshot. I don't think that's up for debate. But I think it's just the fact that we, in this ultra specific niche of covering the Idaho 4, we cover so many aspects of it. We, as creators making videos about this, probably know every single documented picture that's been made public about Brian Kohlberger. So then when we see a new picture of him, it's just, it seems like new information to us. It's certainly new information to us. So I think that we all were just shocked to see another. There's so many few pictures. I mean, think about you in your adult life. If you were to suddenly be thrown into the biggest news story in the world, would you only have maybe like a small handful of 10 pictures total that the entire world sees, or would you have a lot more? It is weird. Like, was a 28-year-old, was, you know, you would think there'd be social media accounts and pictures. So there's just so few pictures of them. It's like something pretty rare. And so while I'm here, I'm just going to show you the new images that we have of him. So this is the mugshot, and it was used in this. This is his booking information. That's part of the motorcade. And then this is him getting off the plane. And it's hard. I can't zoom in on this picture, but what you can see, it looks like he's wearing a bulletproof vest, but it does look like he's healthy. He's not too skinny, not too big. There's a lot of new comments. I probably should be paying attention. But great comment. I'd be interested to know, which reminds me, I'm doing a members only live stream for the conference hearing today. So if you did want to talk about it in a smaller, kind of more intimate setting, I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you join. My membership's only 99 cents a month, so check it out. I agree about the Daybell trial. I just want to know if BK will have the scruff. I don't think he's going to have the scruff for court. I mean, he's appearing before a judge. He's probably wants to try and look as respectful as possible, especially to his first hearing with this new judge. Tarot says, Enon, I believe when he tells some stories in third person, he is actually referring to himself as the one in those stories. Somebody told me to investigate him. It was Crime, Lies, and Videotapes, because they did a reaction to my Papa Rogers video, and they told me that they believed Enon was Papa Rogers. So I started reading Enon's, some of his some things that he's made public, just to compare the two writing styles. And what struck me, and why I mean, I don't know what his involvement's on the outskirt, but why I just never even like considered going that route is just his personality type. He talks about a lot about philosophy. He's clearly been influenced by the principle of Upanishads and the I don't know. I should probably stop talking. That's where I stopped my research on him. I'm like, I don't think this is our guy. When we first started researching this case. I do hope we can see everyone better. I think we will. And somebody agreed with me about the Daybell. It was like in 4K. And I think that the Moscow department, you can't even zoom in on anything. So I think that's in like 720. Enon refers to Xana a few times, talks about E and doesn't mention MK much. I think he fixated on X. Hey, Joey. Thank you for showing up today. Wait, hold on a second. Swamp Rose's parents around that road the BK supposedly drove home with. Oh, that was the, I'm sorry. Let me go to the picture. Took me a second. Wait, you may have two of you. Hello, Jeff. Welcome to the chat. Happy Hour Thursday. Hey, JB. If he's wearing an orange suit, good for him. If you're gonna be prosecuted in the media, you know, I get the message. However, it's not about sending messages. Don't like, you know, that saying, don't help the joke. Like, I don't think it's a good idea, but I don't know. I think it's up for debate. It's certainly like perception, I think. Whoa. I'm sorry I displayed that. I just want to put up a quick little banner. I mean, I'm happy you guys can talk about whatever you want in the live chat. I'm just careful about what I display on here. But just to remind everyone, everything I say is simply speculation in my opinion and reaction. And I encourage you to do your own research to form your own opinions about this case. And we are going to get to the video in a second. There's a lot in the chat to talk about. Brian and Versace. Yeah, 2 p.m. And so whatever we were following for the Moscow time, it's an hour before them. So I don't want to say Pacific time. I'm not sure. Is that Mountain time, I think? Yeah, I'm excited to see Newport. Hold on. Do you have photos of the other cameras in the area? I do. Let me see if I uploaded any to StreamYard. We got this. Hold on. This one's pretty good. 12 gauge made this for me. Oh, Jeff, hold on. Yeah, no, I think 12 gauge. Oh gosh, I'd have to look at my email. First off, I will say 12 gauge and Jeff, if I have camera photos other than my 712 camera photos, which specifically come from Mikey. Thank you again, Mikey. Most of my camera stuff comes from 12 gauge or Jeff H. And so 12 gauge investigates or Jeff H, the guitarist. Please visit either of their channels if you need anything to do with footage for the Idaho 4 when it comes to cameras or cars. But this one shows the, oh wait, this isn't the right picture. This one's showing where the luminol was being sprayed. Hold on. I do have camera photos. You know, I don't think I have any uploaded, but this one is the one I'm the most interested in. I have a video on that too. Let me just get right back to the live chat, and then we will, if you guys want to get onto that subject, we can. Wait, hold on. I commented in 12 Gauge's chat that I put this new mugshot of BK in my locker so I can stare at it before fifth period. I don't think it's like people obsessing over his image personally. I just think it's something new. It's just something new. And I mean, just think of the images that we just keep recycling and recycling. And Jeff, you know the power of a photograph. Interesting, Jeff. Mish Girl, and welcome to the live chat, Mish Girl. For someone who's spent 2 years in county jail, he looks pretty good. I mean, it just does. I don't want to say any jail is cozy or comfortable, but I mean, the fact is you're exposed to less people. It feels like you'd be in a safer place in that little jail. And I just wonder if he's going to, when waiting for this trial in the next year, if he's going to be able to maintain that health. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know how they accommodate for special meals either. I kind of paused for a second. I watched an interesting documentary on Netflix this weekend that I would highly recommend. It has nothing to do with the Idaho 4, but it gave me some perspective on this case that I hadn't had before. And it was called something monster, but it was on the Menendez brothers and their case. And what made me think of it is when you're talking about health, that was a really interesting incident. These were both extremely wealthy, rich children. And when they were sent to prison, like immediately, they went from eating the finest things in the world, drinking like the finest wines in the world, eating the finest food, to the jailhouse food. And one of the brothers only drank milk for like a long period of time. He was in this is all based on a true story. And when he was finally asked about it, and they're like, you need to start eating food. And he said that he couldn't eat the jail food because he had worked on his body his whole life. He watched everything he ate his whole life to be where he is. And he just couldn't handle the thought of eating that junk. And I mean, of course, not comparing similar cases, but think about what we know about BK. His diet was, from what we understand, completely for health reasons, and it was very strict. So I don't know. I wonder if he can still, I wonder, Jeff, if he can still eat vegan. I think that in this modern, I mean, of course, the case I'm talking about was like 30 years ago or something, but they've come a long ways. They probably have to honor a lot more dietary needs than they did back then. And yeah. 80s. Charles says, I wish you could see all of the ISRBG pics with the guy with the knife. It always, ISRGB is like some of their headlines are making a comeback. I only saw one picture from with the knife in that. If I'm thinking about the same post, it's going to be at 4 p.m. New York time, which is 2 p.m. Boise time, which I think is Mountain time, but I'm not 100% sure. Private flights, motorcade, security, single cell and segregation, suits in court, vegan meals. Out of that whole list, and the list does, when you read it like that, does sound peculiar. What's peculiar is that flight. Why did they fly him? It is interesting. Maybe just high risk of people interfering with his transportation. I don't know. Lady will be live on YouTube, except just for the members. And I donated 10 memberships. I don't know. I think they were all taken, but if you go to the premiere of my last video, there might be some there. But it's nice. It's nice when we can do it in a more intimate setting when we're talking. The other thing I will say is I wonder if this judge will completely cut the stream afterwards. Because if you remember, if we paused during the last hearing to talk about it, and the stream ended, it just cut it off and we didn't get to watch the end. So I'm going to pause and talk about it with hopes that I'll be able to keep streaming the entire stream. And if you missed the announcement at the beginning of the live chat, my husband is buying takeout, so I don't have to leave to make dinner. And JV says he will probably be in orange today, because the judge has not ruled on that motion for street clothing. That actually makes sense. And that goes back to the comment we had up here. Oh, I thought I started saying that they heard on another channel the BK will be dressed in orange. It might not be inside reporting. It just might be a fact that that's how they have to proceed until he rules on it. I do. I think Bill Thompson will be in court today. At first, I didn't think so. But, I don't know. I'm just a YouTuber. It's not like I have anything to base that on. Elon is still on your sus list. Ooh, that sounds good. A salmon wrap. I haven't broke my fast yet. I haven't decided what to have for lunch. Probably a tomato sandwich. For some reason, that's like my favorite thing lately. But I should have a protein shake because I fast until I do intermittent fasting. So you're not supposed to just eat carbs when you come off, but whatever. I think if Enon had really done something, we'd have a Stephen McDaniel moment during one of those many interviews. I don't think you'd start referencing the book that 100 different religions are based off of. Is there a YouTube channel for the judge? I'm glad you asked. We actually posted it at the beginning of the stream, and I will post it one more time. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to go grab it. I got to take Christie's down. All right, and I'm gonna, not only am I gonna share it in the chat, but I'll tell you, if you can't copy and paste it from the chat, I'll say it out loud so you guys can go visit it for yourself. Okay, let me present my tab. So this is the channel. Hold on. So it is at Idaho 4th District Court. And it's scheduled 34 waiting. Let's go ahead and hit that notification. If you go do that, that's always good because it alerts you when they go live. I don't know why I'm on full screen right now when I'm not looking. Sandy Little says, I heard Bill Thompson has been replaced. You guys, I am so out of the loop. For the last 3 days, I've had some stuff in my personal life I've had to deal with, some nothing personal, like I should say, in my business life, my real life off of YouTube. So I haven't been able to keep up with all the little inside stuff people have been reporting on. But this is really interesting to me. If you know anything about Bill Thompson being at court, I'd like to know. And that reminds me, WSU Mom Kim was here at the beginning of the chat, and she left like 3 questions I totally forgot to get to. We'll get to those in a second. And then she disappeared. Wasn't the audio worse in Daybell than Moscow? The audio was excellent in Moscow. I mean, we were able to cut and paste, repeat. We did a lot of editing with the sound. That's a really interesting question. That could be seriously annoying. I mean, I want the visual so we can read body language and facial expressions, but I mean, I want the audio more. And then Out of Order in the Court says, I don't care if he's innocent or guilty. I hope they have the right person, and I'm not convinced yet. You know, with a gag order, none of us should be convinced, but nobody should be convinced of his guilt either. Especially when you take on that stance of being a quote unquote guilter, you are yourself contaminating the jury pool, because the jury is chosen as a cross section of your peers. And you should take that seriously. If we can't protect our rights for the weakest among us, how are we to protect them for the strongest? Oh, we're talking about, okay, well, let's just get into Enon. I should probably shouldn't say his name anymore. All right, let's just read him. I had a split-second moment where he wanted to cry talking about the crimes. He controlled himself real fast, but then seemed like an emotional flashback was there. Again, I read him as an emotional person as well. If I heard right, I is in maybe the top floor apartments of Queen Road Apartments, in the back facing the house on the top of the hill, the closest to the 11. Let's bring up the picture, you guys. Sorry, Enon. Jeff, if you made that picture for me, I'm sorry if I gave credit to 12. This one. Okay, so if I heard right, let me turn this off. Enon is in maybe the top floor apartments of the Queen Road Apartments, in the back facing the house up on the hill and close to the 1122 parking lot. Well, let's hope we have a visual here. Let me take down your comment. I might not be able to see that from here. So yeah, I don't have a good aerial to look at that. Well, anyway, thank you for the info. It's probably for another episode. All right, back to the comments, and then we'll get to this video that I just released, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, because I actually have a few additional thoughts after premiering it. Oh, it's Pacific. It is Pacific time, because I heard it was. I thought Moscow was on Pacific time, and I heard this was an hour sooner. Take JV's word for it, though. She usually has this stuff right. Okay. And then right after that, Meg says Mountain Time. So it's up for debate. And then Leslie says, yes, Swamp Rose. Mountain Time. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here, Andy. Okay. Oh, I don't. I'm reading all your comments, even if I'm not displaying them. Okay, is the hearing going to be on video? I had read no video recordings will be made. Well, there's a reservation on this channel. Like what we're looking at right now is the actual live stream. So this, let me go back. See, this is a live, 37 people waiting. So, I mean, as far as video, I don't know if they're going to keep a recording up or if they're going to, I don't know, but we know it's going to be streamed because we see it right there. Maybe what you're saying, Mish Girl, is that you heard there's just going to be audio. I don't know. If there is, I think a lot of us will be paying a lot more attention to the precise words. Oh, and then, okay, so we're agreed on mountain time for this. Hi, Essie. Essie says, hi, Kiki. I'm new to your channel. I love your content. So glad I caught a live. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I haven't been streaming more recently. Like I said, just a lot of stuff going on in real life, but we welcome you. Thank you. I hope you can make the members chat at starting a little before 4 o'clock New York time, 2 o'clock Mountain time. Yeah, isn't it weird that Moscow is Pacific and Boise is Mountain time? $27. I don't know. Hey, too fast. Paco says, state hopefully has evidence today. They stalled long enough, going on 2 years. This is ridiculous. So that's actually a perfect point for us to jump off right now. Paco brings up a good fact that before we got this order, changing judges ordered by the Supreme Court, the very last thing that we were waiting on was for the prosecution to meet their discovery deadline. They claimed they had about 5% of the, I believe it was metadata evidence they had not turned over yet. And that is aside from their responses to turning over discovery for the IGG. So basically, they said that they didn't have to turn that over. They were basically saying that they were complying with the law and all of their responses. And what was left was this like 5% of information. They were due to turn over September 6th. So September 6th comes around. And when we went to go look to see what the response was, there was a response saying that they had followed all the law, but there was no discovery. And then we had this blast of like 1,000 pages of new documents from the defense. And at that point, it was either the Supreme Court or the hand of the defense forcing this case into another venue. And then we heard nothing more except now the written responses from the Supreme Court. So I don't know, but that's one of the things we're going to see. We're going to see how he rules on Brian's clothing. We're going to have an idea of how quickly they move in their responses. So if he might rule on something in court today live, or he might be like Judge and take some time, go work on it, not really tell us when the response is coming. Who knows? Maybe we'll find out a court date today too. The discovery deadlines will be interesting too, because there are discovery deadlines just like the one we talked about, but there are other deadlines that need to be met. For instance, BK's alibi is January like 10th or 15th or something. So are all those discovery deadlines going to remain the same? Will the gag order be lifted? Will they be sealing and redacting all these motions now that they're in the new courthouse? Or will the new courthouse just let you, when you make a motion, will you have to show everything? Tarat says, I can see 100% Enon being someone the college kids would tease or make fun of and invite him in for their amusement. Maybe that went too far in some scenarios. Poor Enon. Just nicer than all those diminishing doctored photos. Absolutely. And so Lady Speedball speaking on the fact that, you know, a lot of people are saying that people are going wild over Brian Koberger's new profile pic. And I, of course, you know, some people do think he's handsome. Lots of people have commented that on my channel. But I think for me, it's more like we have had the same handful of like 10 pictures for 2 years. All of us have been creatively making thumbnails out of them and content. And all of a sudden we have this new picture and it's a decent shot. And it's just the newness of seeing it, or another look that we haven't seen yet. And then Mish Girl says, there's something about BK's face in that photo that says, help me. It's because the state has such a weird shape, 90 miles across the top. Super. Oh, okay. That does make super, super weird at the bottom. And I did figure it had something to do with elevation or something. Lady Speedwell agrees with Mish Girl. All right, here we go with Linda Lane. Let me get straight in. Okay. Kane Franchise says, wait, it's Frantiche says he has 4 cameras. We've all seen the video from the 2 of them, the 320 Linda Lane, the 1330 Linda Lane. And we can see the second camera next to the 1330 cam pointing to the right of the fence. 4th cam. Would any of those cameras pick up the front of the driveway though? Like on Queen Road? Because I think that's the one that, I mean, I think that's what they're talking about. I think that's what they were referencing in that comment, because that's the camera in the PCA that caught the 3-point turn. Jeff, you would know. I would love to hear your opinion on that. JB says, JB says, depends on how he spends his time also. He might be doing sit-ups and exercises in his cell, reading books to keep his mind strong, etc. Like, yeah, I know a lot of people, especially with the exercise, a lot of people do that in your cell. Just think what you would do if you were locked in a room smaller than an average bedroom with all the bear. What would you do to occupy your mind all day? And like sometimes you don't even get like a book. Like I've heard from people that they have a book cart going around and you get a book, and if you put it back, like you can't get the same book. Like you just have to start a new book. I don't know. I should shut up because I really don't know. AR, if you're here, let us know. Okay, so all right, so Tarat says, who here has watched Linda Lane cam footage where you can see the little lot fully and the small Queen Road apartment between the behind the big truck? The little lot fully and the small, is that the daytime photo? That must be the 7 a.m. photo, right? Is that what he's talking about, Jeff? Well, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a good day at work, and we're grateful you spent your time with us. BK told his apartment neighbor that he ate only 1 meal a day. Oh, BK and I have something in common. Well, I do. I eat more than 1 meal a day. I just keep it in a very small window. Oh no, Angel D is still awake. Oh, you changed your profile pic though. It's very cute. Hey, LA, it's nice to see you. It means Idaho sliced roast beef gang or something. Sliced roast beef something. And so if you guys don't know what that is, it's kind of like a macabre satire writing forum or Reddit thread, I guess. And the reason why I never put any weight into anything they said is because I guess this wasn't their first time. There was a version of that for like the Madeleine McCann case. And they said all sorts of weird, strange things there. And that's just what they do. It doesn't mean I should completely dismiss it, I guess, but that's my understanding. Everybody's talking about it lately. I believe It's pretty standard to have vegan options in jails. Not sure about the prisons. I frankly think they need to accommodate that. Okay, if you can give me the name of the video about the cams, I'll go watch it. My video? You guys want to watch it instead? I mean, it's not like the video that I was going to show you in a minute is any more of an update than this. But if we are talking about the cam, I mean, this is pretty relevant. Let's check it out. All right, so if you want to retrieve this video yourself, it's on my channel, and you can tell which video it is because it has the camera on the front. And again, if you see Mikey S, who has helped me with so many stories, please give him a thank you because he provided me these photographs and I had never seen them before. Have you seen this photograph of the 712 camera? A camera that will likely be used in evidence against Brian Kohlberger in his upcoming trial. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Swamp Rose, and this video features adult content. It is intended for research, criticism, analysis, reaction, and commentary. Please do your own research and form your own opinions. I would love to hear what you think in the comment section below. Lastly, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and please hit that like button. Now let's begin. So this story was given to me by Mikey S, and it alludes to evidence we found out about early on. So when we talk about surveillance cameras that may have captured evidence on November 13th, 2022, early on, Chronicles of Olivia alluded to a camera which had full view of the 1122 King Road home and its backyard. This camera was also alluded to by Olivia, Kaylee's older sister, when she said she viewed footage of Maddie and Kaylee being dropped off by the private driver. It was further alluded to by Steve G, saying that he had seen the footage as well. This video was filmed by a reporter doing a drive-by. So now I'm going to share a soundbite from a live stream I did last night with 12 Gauge Phillips, and he shows us some potential angles of that camera, which he collected from Gray Hughes' website. So take a listen. Gray Hughes.
So, do you have anything specific that you would like to discuss tonight? I mean, you're my guest, so I'm going to let you kind of go at your own pace and talk about what you'd like to. If you'd like to talk about the Idaho 4, we can talk about the Idaho 4 because, you know, I've done a lot of lives on that. So, it's up to you wherever you want to go with this. I'll follow you.
Well, I mean, if you're asking where I want to go with this live stream, I can just tell you after some of our email interactions, I went back and I watched a live stream that I don't know if it was one you suggested to me, but it was one on your channel regarding cameras that are near and around the 1122 King Road home. You also went over sort of what each angle they would have picked up and the sound. And the particular one I was listening to, you were doing a tour right, of the inside of the house, but you were specifically doing the first floor and what might possibly be heard in Bethany's room and what kinds of things Bethany might have done in reaction to hearing those noises. And
Olivia got to them before the police did. You know what I mean? It seems like she was on point like day or two after the crime. She was already telling the media everything that she had found. You know, she knew that the timeline was messed up. She saw her sister get out. The rideshare driver said that he didn't see them go in the house, but he dropped them off and, you know, all that stuff. I believe that the cat triggered this camera right here, the 52. This is the one that's in the is it in the PCC where it says the cat triggered the camera and it spotted suspect vehicle number 1?
Now, I'd just like to read you this highlighted part of the PCA. It says, a review of the footage of multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle starting at 3:29 a.m., ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leaves via Walenta Drive. Based on my experience as a patrol officer, this residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in this area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during that time frame. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a 4th time, approximately 4:04 a.m. It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of the 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle number 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appears to unsuccessfully attempt to park and turn in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. I think after reading this, it kind of clears one thing up for me, where it says that there are a limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit this area during that time. So I've had Ring doorbells, and the thing is you can adjust these sensitivities so they can either go off when you have a car driving by, or you can make it less sensitive so it sounds like these Ring doorbells were set to go off every time a car drove by. And so that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear yours in the comments below.
Let me show this right here. Can you see this?
Mhm.
I was mostly focused on this one and the apartments where this is shot from. Like, this is right across the street. This would be the view those cameras would have that we're talking about from that little apartment, that little section of the apartment, 712.
Yes.
This
I'll take
would be the
myself out of
view
the
that
picture so you
those
can see it.
cameras would have had. Next door to 712, which would be 710, 712, and they would be able to, depending on the quality of the camera and the distortion and everything, they would have picked up a lot. They would have seen the vehicle coming this way, and maybe coming down.
And lastly, I just want to show you that was so again, thank you to Mikey S for helping me with this story, and I hope we find justice for these 4 beautiful souls. So those are the speculations about camera. I really want to make sure I'm saying, please, this story I did not make in a vacuum. This was definitely brought to me by Mikey S. So thank him if you see him around, and 12 Gauge for actually breaking down and telling us all the possible camera angles and all the possibilities kind of he thought out. So I thought that was really cool. And there's so many great comments I've starred as we were reading this. I haven't gotten through all of them yet, so I'm just going to go. Oh, okay. I'm going to look at the starred comments first. I want to just say this. So LA says she's been watching Monsters too, Swamp. It's interesting. I did not think I was going to like this show, you guys. It is not my cup of tea, but I watched the first episode and I was completely hooked. And I think sometimes they get you with how well they do the sets, because you're like looking at them and they're like all like old fashioned, like everything, the microwave, the TV, it's interesting. But back to more starred comments. So that's why we're showing this video, is DB Tabe's comment about pictures of the other cameras. And Tony Stevens says, no meat saves the jail money. I've thought of that too. As long as they're not doing meat substitutes, then that's big money. Waving from the swamp, full of body parts in Florida. I just wanted to say to you, and then, well, Joey's not in. Oh, wait, it wasn't Joey. Yeah, big hurricane in Florida. Just for everybody down in the Sunshine State, we're thinking about you. We know you're going to get a direct hit. Let's just hope it's not high tide, and we hope you're all safe, boarded up, watching and listening to what the officials say, but our thoughts are all with you folks down south today. And Armageddon, I was reading your comments. They're so interesting. I try not to directly talk to people on the internet because I have a history of being fooled by fake stories in this case. And so I have a group of people who helps me vet. So if you want to hit me up on Discord and hit me with a story, like I would love to, but if you want to check out one of my managing mods in here, Christy Twizzle, I'm not talking right today. I'm sorry, Too Fast or Heather, and let them know. They'll put you in contact with me or give you my email address, but I just don't list it on my channel anymore. There's a really bad explanation. Joey says, Swamp, do you think Bethany will testify in court? I do. I 100% think that she's going to give her testimony. She's one of the survivors in that house that night. There's just no way that either side of that, there's no way either side isn't going to want to hear what she has to say. There's no way the world doesn't want to hear what she has to say. And I think since we're talking about 12 gauge, he brought up a really interesting point. When I was bringing up the whole naked man theory, the article that's been in the Mirror, the exculpatory evidence that Bethany might have, 12 gauge said something interesting. And he's a good person to talk to because he is in college for criminal or university for criminal justice. And he said, what if what's exculpatory about what Bethany says is the simple fact that she claims it's a naked man and Dylan claims it's a man clad in black? Two different accounts of the perpetrator. So, and then I started Armageddon's comments. All right, I'm getting back to the live chat. We've got a lot of new comments. Oh yeah, I hope you're safe and you and your family stay safe and dry. And then they had a huge dust storm in Moscow yesterday. It looked like Armageddon. That's creepy. I didn't realize they had that problem there. Gag order, I like this comment. Susan Russo says, gag order will be canceled in this courthouse unless the new judge orders it. So it will be automatically canceled. So I think what you're saying, Susan, and I don't know either way, I'd just be going with what like you guys say, but I think what you're saying is gag order only applies to the courtroom where it was introduced. That'd be interesting. So we'll have to check out those pics of the dust storm. Thank you for hitting the like button. And when you hit the like button, as a creator, it helps me so much because it puts the live stream in front of another person. So I really appreciate it. I feel like hurricane season started late this year. I think we've been blessed with not a lot of major hits. Are you guys coffee snobs in Melbourne? Coffee is so different wherever it's grown. Please drop in the chat. I'm just curious, like an impromptu survey, where your favorite coffee beans are from. I like Colombian coffee. I've always liked Colombian coffee, but you know, I have a few others. I like a little Kona coffee, but it's hard to actually get Kona coffee. Like you can sell Kona coffee and it only has like 10% Kona beans in it, but those beans are grown in volcanic ash. So they're like, they have very little, like, as long as they're fresh and they're not old beans, their taste so, they don't have like that bitterness to them. I just put a little salt in my coffee. I just put as much, just salt it up until the ancestors tell me to stop. Lana knows that info. I've been getting some really interesting stories or information from Truth Transparency lately. She's been having some incredible live streams. You should definitely check her out. I watched her obviously throughout the years, but I'm definitely a new sub with the notification bell on now. Wait, hold on. Hey, what if? I've been meaning to comment back to you. You've left me some really nice comments lately. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you for being here too. Okay, DB says, fair enough. I try to talk more so I can get in a good reading of who I am. Okay, Jeff says, the photo you showed of the Queen Rose Apartments has the corner. Okay, let's put it up. Here we go. The photo, let me take myself off the screen. The photo you showed of the Queen Road Apartments has the corner Enon is in. It's the bottom left corner of the lower photo you have. All right, let's take down your comment. Bottom left corner of the photo. Hold on. I'm trying to take your comment down. Okay. Bottom left corner. This is Queen Road. My cursor's not showing, so I'm going to have to describe this to you without pointing. So if you can see where the two white roofs are that run parallel to each other, if you look to the bottom left of that, you'll see it says Queen Road. So we know we're on the Queen Road Apartments. And Jeff says bottom left. So you can see the big tree to the left of those buildings, and Enon's house would be, that looks about right because it'd be up on a hill. Let me look at Jeff's comment again. Oh, whoops. I lost it. The photo you showed of the Queen Road Apartments has the corner Enon is in. It's the bottom left corner of the lower photo you have. Yep. All right. Thank you for telling us. I appreciate that. Yeah, where is Twiz? I miss Twiz. Twiz. You gotta come join the gang. Let's all put in hashtag TwizGang and maybe it'll start trending. Angel D is finally sleeping. Okay. What license plates did the neighbor say that he saw the morning the vehicles parked at 22? I have no idea what you're referencing. What license plates did the neighbor say he saw that morning on the vehicles parked? I've seen a lot of newscasts interviewing neighbors that morning. It is slipping my mind which neighbor you're talking about. But we'd love to know. What? Oh, none of your pictures look creepy. Oh, Twiz is asleep. That would make sense. Okay, and then Tarot says, I thought Lana said he is on the top floor of one of the big buildings. Like one of those big white buildings running parallel to each other. I don't know, are any of Lana's mods here? Can somebody hear her talk about it before? What is going on? We need to stop profile pic shaming today in the chat. Oh. Yeah, we've got a bunch of supermodels in the chat. Susan Russo says, it was audio for the one case, but it started video and then they changed it. So, I mean, I think we would have seen that in Moscow, first and foremost. Let me take this pic. I think we would have seen that in Moscow because when they talked about Bethany and they talked about Dylan, I think we all were under the impression those would either be closed hearings or we wouldn't be able to see their faces when they testified. But it'll be interesting if it cuts in and out. I don't think we have any say in this. I mean, I think we have a say. We could petition a court. They need to show us what's going on in the courtroom, but if the court is run a certain way, it's not like you can change it. Do you have the link? Okay, we'll show it again, you guys. Let me pull up the channel, and then I'm going to put the link in. I don't think I did before. Right here. So it is the Idaho 4th District Court, and I'm copying the link. Whoopsie. I'm copying the link now. Come on. So what happened was I've been working on my MacBook for like the past week. That's why anyone who follows my channel might think I look a little different in the video I just did, and it's because I'm filming it on a different camera. But my point is this, is like, I'm not used to this computer right now. I suck. There's the link to the new streaming place. And if you go on there now, go into their live tab, they already have it scheduled. You can hit that notification. And so you're good to go, because we don't know exactly if they're going to start on time. Yeah, there are different time zones in Florida. I forgot about that because the Panhandle is like an hour ahead. It's like on Central Time or something. I love Florida. I could live in Florida. I'm such a cold person. I kind of can't handle New England sometimes. But I love New England. It's 3:30 a.m. in Australia. And the crazy part is it's like 3:30 a.m. tomorrow. Yes, Ashley Jennings style. We should get Heather's famous video. I do have another segment to show, but I feel like sidetracking and showing Heather's video. We won't. I'm not going to get sidetracked. I think my intel on the location of Enon's apartment is something I heard from Lana. Okay. So let me write it down because I always forget when I say I'm going to clear something up. We need to figure out which apartment was his. I would only be interested simply for when he says he heard a scream, we would know if he could actually hear it from that far away. Wait, if what we hear is all they got as evidence, they may have nothing concrete. Supposedly they have it, Tony. I mean, supposedly she came from Nevada and testified in a closed hearing. Not supposedly, she did. I have the receipts from I played a video on it about a week ago. We don't know what they meant by exculpatory. What I said in the video is, could it be, because she testified that she heard, we've heard word on the street said that Bethany's original counts were naked man and frat fight. And so if we put those together, the rumor was that she heard noises upstairs, but she assumed it was spillover from a frat fight between Ethan and Xana. I thought, could it be that? Could it be, as 12 Gauge says, it's the simple fact that she saw someone naked and Dylan saw someone in black clothes? I don't know. And then could it be something else? Could it be that Bethany knew BK, allegedly, just speculating here? Could they have been an acquaintance? Could a job or a hangout be some sort of connection? Because we've heard so much that there's no connection between the girls, but have we heard that there's no connection between the survivors? I don't know. Or would that be a connection? I don't know. What could it be that's exculpatory? Because if there was a connection, let's just say with one of the surviving roommates, what I was getting at is nobody can explain away how this touch DNA might have gotten into the house. But if he was connected to another person at home, it could explain how it got there. Just a thought. Oh, thank you. I'm going to paste it one more time just in case it didn't go through before. Hey, Mark and Betty. Wait. I feel you should have my wrench taken away. I speak a little too freely and say whatever is on my mind. Isn't that kind of like what my channel's about? It's weird. Like the only wrenches I've ever taken away, unless YouTube took them away, are like people who asked me to take their wrenches away. Really nicely too, but isn't that weird? 3 people. And we're all friends. Okay, I don't know why I'm telling you this without telling you the whole story, but I can't. The one that starts up at 4:20 a.m. I mentioned the activity at 3:45 behind it. 2 guys come out of that building, and then one walks towards 11:22. I wonder. I'm trying to think. I recently heard someone talking about that. It might have been Rolo. I'm not sure. I saw that somewhere, but I always don't watch much past 4:35, so. Okay, let's remember anything that was ordered in motions, nothing now matters. It all has to be filed again. No, that's something I didn't know. He has to rule on all the orders again. I thought that, from my understanding, was whatever judge ruled on as of now stands. But if the judge wants to revisit or change anything, he can, because it's now his case to do so. That is interesting. If anyone knows more about what Susan Russo is saying, please comment below. Oh, yeah, Jeff, you're fixing to get blocked. Yeah, we don't stifle freedom of speech here unless you're saying something denigrating about someone or calling out people's real names or other creators. We don't do that here. Oh, AR, thank you for showing up. I had such a good time in your live stream the other night with Murder Metal Mayhem. AR, maybe you could drop a link to your channel in the chat so the folks can go check out your channel. I really do. I'm trying so hard. Hey, we're all keeping you in your prayers. You look you look great in your new video you released today too. The new scruff reminds me of Ted Bundy. Did Ted Bundy have scruff? Yeah, I think he did. I commented on the past short live. I timestamped all the stuff I heard and saw. Oh, hey, Robert. Robert's covering the hearing, but he's doing his public. So if anyone wants to know where to go to watch it, other than going there, you can check out Robert with True Crime Podcast. The car that makes the pass, it starts after the guy walks off towards 11:22. I will tell you what, Tara, I will be going back to these comments and looking, because it will take me too long to line all this up and show and do a segment on it right this second. But I mean, I've seen the breakdown on other channels, and you've been kind enough to write down all the key points to that story. So I will definitely check it out and see what I can see. And maybe we'll present it in a live stream coming up this week. I've just been so busy in real life, you guys. I definitely am going to do more live streams this week than last. Although last week I was like a guest on other live streams, so it's not like I've been slacking. I've just been on other channels. I would love to know where Kane's fourth camera is. I'd ask him, but I really try not to bother him with all this. He's been a huge hassle from, it's been a huge hassle from him. He says, Jeff, I think you're the least of his worries. Like, I would just go ahead and ask him. Might as well. I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? But you're probably the least of his worries. You're probably one of the nicest people who tried to get information from him. Payne said he had no video footage of BK on the highway south of the neighborhood in court. I think that's what they were referencing, but I don't know. I mean, as far as the PCA, how do you get away with saying immediately spotted? We know that the cell phone wasn't indicating that he was there in the immediate vicinity. So what indicated that he was there in the immediate vicinity other than a photograph or a video of a suspect video? I don't know. Wait, I saw some of it during Angel D. I saw some of it during Dinky's birthday live. I thought we were being punked. I opened my eyes to some folks. I heard Dinky's birthday live stream was really fun. I'm gonna have to be part of the replay crew. I can't believe we've been live streaming for an hour and a half. I literally was going to do a 20-minute live stream. Okay, so Crown Vic says, wait, you get a book or two in 1 hour out of the shower and you can work out of your cell. So is the cell door open? Like, could you go, you can go wander around, right? I mean, like you get a book and you get 2 in 1 hour out of shower, 1 hour out for shower. Okay, so you get a book or two and you get an hour out for the shower and you can work out in your cell. So do they shut the door the whole time? Like, I think it depends. I think I need to get which the different penitentiaries correct, because I see some where the jail cell's open and you can just wander around freely and go in and out of your cell. I've seen others where the cell door is completely closed. I'm just looking for more questions before I present the next video. 1 meal and 50 snacks. You're in Utah with my LDS fan. I know, Elizabeth. We're all feeling the same way. Meg is training you to be less reactive. The power of non-reaction is real. I have made a lot of videos on the power of non-reaction when I used to have my other life on YouTube. Now I just talk about the Idaho 4 case. Okay, why isn't anyone talking about the WSU parking decal witnessed on BK's vehicle on the morning of the unenlivened? Because I've never heard of that. That's a really interesting story. Well, thank you for bringing it to my attention. When I'm doing my Lana research, I will go back and look for information on that. And if anyone knows about that in the chat, drop your knowledge in the chat. Let us know. Okay, details on the case. We're in the ISRBG stuff before we heard about some things. But which things which things did we hear about beforehand? I don't remember. Maybe the frat stuff? But then that makes me think, could they be responsible for some of the frat stuff on 4chan too? I don't know. My dog is trying to get me to stop live streaming. Okay. Okay, Linda Lane, also 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. The time jumps forward a second. It also pauses, but the sound is still heard, and the sound is still heard. Have any of you seen that? No, but I can tell you that I've seen other anomalies from 3:59 to like 4:59 or something is missing. There's a minute missing, right, Jeff? For like 3:59 to like 4:59 is 4:01 is missing. I mean, as far as like verifying the actual times on the videos, we've seen people do that like in an amateur way, lining up beeps on the Banfield to the beeps on Linda Lane. But I just ask you all, how hard is it to do an overlay of sound? I don't know. And if it is real, and we're talking about Ann Taylor, she did mention where the audio and the visual wasn't matching up in certain videos. Just saying, I mean, I personally don't think Linda Lane's admissible in court, but if it is, could that be what she's referencing? I don't know. Drop it in the chat. Let us know what you think. Oh, great. I'm not going to say any more about Linda Lane. Okay, 6 to 7 a.m. Kohlberger ain't on that video. Olivia said she saw them take the dog outside. I think that's the 11-12 cam. But if I'm mistaken, please let us know. Let me turn the camera off. All right. I wasn't at the level of giraffe. What was that? I can picture the Banfield cops seeing people outside, maybe running, hiding, looking shady, or started making passes trying to find them. One thing I want to go back to with Banfield, and it kind of was from a conversation, I think it was definitely a conversation that Rolo was involved in the other day, but we were talking about the Banfield runners. So there are two sets of runners. And I think that's where like there's so much like argument and confusion about what those people were doing. Were they going straight to a frat? Were they running away from the police? Blah, blah, blah. There were two sets of runners, and they were both in different areas. So I've been meaning to go back and get like one of them, the police was sort of blocking with his finger. And then the other one was the group we saw coming from like allegedly the area of the King Road house towards the fraternities. And I'm really getting off subject, but I just wanted to mention. Hello, Moto. I don't think that company would appreciate us substituting that word. Okay, thank you. Sure. And I'll be working on that. Yeah, you would see, I'm coming home in those cams then. yeah, that whole scenario is weird. All right, I'm going to play my new video. I just premiered this about 30 minutes ago. I want to show it to you guys because I just feel like there maybe are a couple things you want to talk about. And also, you might disagree with my assessment. I have thought of the different angles of argument. I put some of them in the video, but if you disagree, I'd like to know what you think. And so I'm going to pull that up. It's, if you go to my channel, it's my newest video, so it's right on the homepage. And I'd love to know
If Brian Koberger was fired from his teaching assistant job at WSU weeks before his arrest, then why did his shared office door have a handwritten sign with his name and 2 other female coworkers on the 29th of December?
My name is Swamp Rose. And today I'm continuing my true crime podcast where we focus on the Idaho 4 or the case against Brian Koberger. Now, before I get started, I just want to let you know that everything that I say in this video is simply speculation, in my opinion, and I encourage you to do your own research to form solid opinions about the case that we are covering. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So in this video, I wanted to talk to you about debunking another mainstream media myth. And there's another story that it appears to be at the very least inaccurate. But at the very most, it appears to be not true. So I'm going to take a moment to point out the discrepancies in the story to see if I can debunk this for myself and for my audience. So it's like the freaking camera like gentrifies me in this video. Like, I think I'm going to use my MacBook. It looks more real and like, I don't know. I like that picture better. It's just, this one is like, maybe it's the lighting I have in here. You guys don't want to hear any of this. I'm going to shut up. Referencing is the mainstream media story that Brian Koberger was fired from WSU on December 19th.
To the extent that that this letter, which I don't believe the letter has been completely authenticated yet, but if it is in fact true and the timeline is true, then this is something that could have absolutely contributed to him reaching a tipping point in his rage and anger and leading him to strike out in this terrible murder situation.
Yeah, we don't have our hands on the letter yet, but we've had the essence of it authenticated by a source close to the investigation. And that's the next best thing without actually getting your hands on a copy of the termination letter. And obviously, you know, when it comes to those kinds of, you know, staff and policy, you know, obviously administration.
So for the sake of this video, I didn't want to keep rewinding and repeating things. Like when I first edited it, I repeated some of these things that Ashley Banfield said over and over again. But just think about this. Like, we just watched one of our fellow live streamers get like completely attacked and regulated by his own community for putting out unverified stuff. Now I know it's somewhat comparing apples to oranges, but my point is this, is that if you have a platform like this that reaches so many people, do you guys think it's ethical to take a rumor of a letter and put it forth before somebody is tried for a crime? I mean, it's more of this, like, it just seems obvious to me that there is somebody planting stories into the media to try and vilify this person. So we all were like, oh, that's the creepy guy. That's the right guy. And then you hear things like this, and we find out where they're getting their stories from. And the New York Times, I don't elaborate on this video, but what's sneaky is we go from News Nation to Newsweek to the source of the New York Times. And what's really interesting is it appears the New York Times is trying to make it look like they have 3 sources for this information, but they create, and it's so well written. I mean, it's not something you would have picked up on unless you were breaking it down, because they separate all the different moments where they mention source. But they're clearly stating at the beginning, they're making it sound like with a play on words, they have 3 sources. And then as you read through, they have 2 sources that actually were debunked in the article, who witnessed one thing, and then one source who was illegally giving information about a closed door meeting. It sounds completely false. And if somebody in that closed door meeting had leaked it, not only would they have been fired, but they would have been, they'd be threatening their position in their union. So it's just sad that you see her reporting on this letter. That was my point. Administrative
staff policies, employment records are pretty private. It's hard to get your hands on those things.
This was authored February 13th. It's called Brian Koberger's Behavior Towards Women, Investigated Weeks Before the Arrest. And if you come down here, it says, Brian Koberger, the Idaho murder suspect, was reportedly investigated regarding his behavior towards women in the weeks regarding the arrest. According to a report from New York Times, Koberger, 28, was terminated from his position as a teaching assistant at the Washington State University after school officials were informed about his behavior towards females. So again, according to a news report from the New York Times. All right, let's take a look at what the New York Times said. This gets really interesting. New York Times article, and it is called University Investigates Idaho Murder Suspect's Behavior Around the Time of Killings. This is really interesting when it comes to sources, guys. Though he had not been identified as a suspect, they culminated that the Criminology Justice Department's unusual decision to terminate Mr. Koberger from its teaching assistant role in December, shortly before his arrest, that's the key word here, according to 3 people familiar with his time at the university, in a formal letter to Mr. Koberger, informing him that he had failed to meet conditions required to maintain his funding over the program. The reason I'm showing you this is it says, according to 3 people familiar with his time at the university. You guys, this is a trick. What they're trying to show you in this illegitimate article is that 3 people confirm the story. That's not what happened. Let's go down and take a look at what they said. It was 2 incidences, 2 people about one incident and 1 person about another. That Mr. Koberger had made them uncomfortable. In one of those instances, Mr. Koberger was accused of following a female student to her car, according to 2 people familiar with the situation who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the case. So let me read on. In the case of the female students, the university investigation did not find Mr. Koberger guilty of any wrongdoing. I repeat, the university's investigation did not find Mr. Koberger guilty of any wrongdoing. 2 people said. So 2 people have now confirmed this story was nothing wrong. So that's what they do, is they go up here, they make you think they have 3 sources, and then they come down here and just give you 2. And then in the next paragraph, you have 1 source for this. In the termination documents, officials described a second altercation, according to a termination letter, a copy of which was obtained by the New York Times. But down here it says, the vice president and spokesman for WSU said that the federal student privacy law prohibited him from commenting on detail about Mr. Koberger's history at the university. He said,
Administrative staff policies, employment records are pretty private. It's hard to get your hands on those things.
Good point.
To add to this point, Brian Koberger had a union job. So obviously the second part of this comes from one anonymous source, and we know it's probably not someone that works at the university, and we know it's probably not somebody who's a witness in the case. So it's probably the same old person who makes up stories. If you lose your teaching assistant job, you're also going to lose your funding from the university. And if you lose your funding from the university, you're going to lose your housing from the university. So let me show you something else. All right, so I'm just going to simply point out 2 things on this warrant.
Down here, number 1. This warrant pertains to 2 separate places where BK worked, and it also includes his apartment building. But what's peculiar is down here. When they're describing the actual doorway, they say it is on the ground floor and it has a number 12 placard next to the door. It has 3 names on a piece of paper taped to the door, one of which is Koberger. So him and his 3 assistants actually have their names on a piece of paper taped to the door, and this is dated the 29th. And I just want to point out here, up here on page 30, in the last line of this, it says that Koberger has been confirmed to be one of the students who utilizes this office. On December 29th, 2022, investigators visited the office of Brian's office, and Koberger's name was on the outside. So if Brian had lost funding, why was his name on the outside of the door, and how did the police confirm that on the 29th? So if he had been fired, they still kept not only his placard, but a piece of paper with his handwritten name. Now let's look at this. Okay, these are the receipts to items found at Brian Koberger's apartment. So if Brian had lost his funding, he would have lost his apartment. Also, if Brian thought there was any possibility that he was losing his employment, why would he have left all of his electronics at his apartment? So again, these are the things that they found in the property receipt that they left after they searched it. 1 nitrate type black glove, Walmart receipt with 1 Dickies tag, 2 Marshall's receipts, dust container from Abyssal Power Force vacuum, 8 possible hair strands, 1 Fire Stick TV stick with a cord plug, 1 possible animal hair strand, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair, 1 possible hair strand, 1 computer tower, 1 collection of dark red spots collected without testing, 2 cuttings from an uncased pillow of reddish brown stain, larger stain tested, 2 top and bottom mattress covers packaged. I just want to let you guys know, I want to get through the video, but I am starring some of these comments so we can talk about them afterwards. Separately, both labeled C, multiple stains, 1 tested. So just after going through all that paperwork, it just leaves me with a few unanswered questions if we were to assume this story was real. Number 1, if BK had any idea he was about to lose his job, why on the 15th did he leave with all of his stuff in his apartment and other things in his workspaces? Because he was driving across country. So potentially if he had a meeting on the 19th that was going to decide his employment, why would he go all the way across country and then decide to come all the way back to pick up his stuff if there's a chance he might lose his job, his funding, his schooling, everything? But he didn't. He left on the 15th, and he didn't bring any of the big things with him. He left them in his apartment. It doesn't fit well with the story. So now that we've actually taken a look at the receipts, I'd love to hear what you think. Do you agree with my assessment? Just in general, this story at face value doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'd love to hear what you think below. And if you've made it this far into today's video, if you could please hit that like button. Hitting the like button, time you hit that like button, it helps put this video in front of another person, and I really appreciate it. And if I could also ask you, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe. I would love to have you part of my viewership. I put out content daily, including shorts, videos, live streams, community posts, and more. And lastly, if you are a subscriber, please hit that notification bell, because we go live all the time and I would hate for you to miss out on the live chat. And sometimes I make those videos private or members only, so I would love to have you be part of the replay crew. So with that, I appreciate your viewership. I hope you have a great day. I hope peace is your journey today. I'm going to get my tea. My subs, my mods. If you could, I would love a subscribe, have you be part of the replay crew. So with that, I appreciate your viewership. I hope you have a great day. I hope peace is your journey today. I'm going to get my tea. So these are my managing mods. Obviously, I can't possibly gather all this information. Well, maybe you guys can, but I couldn't gather all this information on my own. I not only have my managing mods to help me come up with story ideas and retrieve documents, but it's also a group of people who I can fact check with, which is so important in this case. So please visit Christy, Heather, Too Fast, and Twizzle and subscribe to their channels because they always put out quality content. And yeah. So I start a few comments, and I'm glad Mrs. Potts is here because she seems to agree with my assessment. And I'm going to go right to her comment. Hey, 12, we were just talking about you earlier. And we also have a lot of things to say about the hearing today. Yeah, and on Discord, on our side of Discord, we share recipes, teach knitting, which is spelled in, watch puppy videos, and sing Kumbaya at 6 a.m. as a group every morning. I mean, he's being sarcastic, but it is kind of like that. We share puppy videos, recipes. I don't know if we sing Kumbaya, but we send nice morning messages. Dinky's wrong about Discord. That's all I'm saying. And Too Fast, I like your profile pic. Don't listen to what they say. I like the little puppy. So Vivian, I'm going to go back to Vivian's comment. She says, Susan Russo, no, everything ruled on stands. It doesn't start over. The judge just picks where it was left off. And just to elaborate on what she's saying, he can also go back and make other rulings, but it's good to know. So that sounds like, just to answer a few more questions in here, we're talking about the civilian clothing. I wonder why civilian clothes have not been approved. But if what Vivian is, the picture that Vivian's painting it is true, everything that's been ruled on stands, and it doesn't start over and the judge picks. So if he's ruled on allowing him to wear the street clothes, then I think it stays in here. But then again, that kind of like messes with my head, because then why would Ann Taylor had to have motioned for it or had the judge rule on it? Maybe to just solidify it, like get it over with, have the judge say, look, I'm going to allow this. I don't know. So a couple more comments. Susan Russo says, I'd like to know why one PCA mentioned Dylan saying, shut the heck up or something like that, and the other doesn't. And then there was a comment saying neither PCA says that. What they say, oh wait, you're right. I was just gonna make another comment about there's someone here. I'm glad I started these comments, and I'm not gonna let that go, even though we have a time constraint today. I think that's a really interesting question to talk about. When I go back to this live stream, I'll note those and we'll try to go over that. That's a great topic for a segment in an upcoming live. Speaking of upcoming lives, you guys, I'm putting together another debunking special. I don't know if I can get it out by Thursday. Friday. I'd like to do it, but I don't think I can. But at the very latest, it'll be Monday that I do my next debunking show. And DB Tape says, Beyond the Fire, I have a feeling the judge will rule on that in today's hearing. We were talking about the clothing. That's what the word on the street is, that he will be wearing orange today. Oh, 33 new comments. I'm sorry, you guys. I just want to say it's really nice to have a full chat today, you guys. Oh, Bubs is here. Bubs, nice to see you. Really, Rolo? I'd like to know the timestamp on that. I haven't seen that before. And whose laptop was he talking about? Hey, let me hit that like button. I want to hit it again. You guys, please hit that like button. It is the free way you can help my channel. And as a creator, whenever you hit that like button, it puts the live stream in front of another person. So I appreciate it ahead of time. Thank you. And on the same note, I just want to say, please hit that notification bell, because when I go live, it can be random sometimes. And sometimes I get shy and make them private afterwards. Viviana, I can tell you is to watch the video. All I can tell you is to watch the video of the search warrant being served. Blaker is told about the fancy laptop on the counter by Don Daniels. It's 100% fact. The search warrant being served to BK's apartment. It must be. Okay. That's really interesting. We'll definitely go check that out. Thank you. Hi, Paul. Nice to see you. The judge can review over the case, and the street clothing should be kept because changing to an orange suit makes him look guilty, and the G's are pushing for no suit. I agree. I think there's not a, especially after we've listened to that expert testimony, not the average person sits through hours and hours and hours of how bias is formed and how it's measured. And we all watched it at the last hearing. So we have an idea of how just showing an image and then showing a negative word or phrase next to it can skewer your impressions of that, or it can subconsciously put negative impressions of that person into your head. And when I start talking like this, it's probably a good idea for me to stop live streaming. Jeff says, I heard orange makes your eyebrows look less bushy. Maybe I heard that wrong. Maybe orange is slimming. Yeah, that's it. I'm just going to tell you not to make light of the subject, you guys, even though Jeff is already doing it. Orange and coral are one of the few colors that nobody thinks they can wear, but every skin tone can basically pull off. So try the orange. Yes, Heather should be waking up soon. Heather put out some new content today too, if you want to go check her channel out. And then Vivian says she doesn't remember ever seeing that on the body cam. We'll watch again. All right, you guys. Well, I've got to go live at 4. So I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Just see what Bub says down here. Hold on. Wait, notice that almost impossible for a guilter to change. Why did you change your mind, Rose? Oh my God. I wasn't trying to be a guilter. I'm going to say that first and foremost. I was trying to be objective, and I really thought I was making like these insightful observations about the case. And then I'll tell you exactly what happened. I'm driving to New Hampshire with my husband, and he's telling me, I know now what he was talking about. I didn't know then. He was talking about Dot, and he's telling me all this stuff. I'm like, why do you think that why would you ever think that the roommates or anything, you know, I was saying, and he's like, well, didn't you hear the story about them smoking cigarettes and smirks on their face? I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's how I found out about Dot. And he not only that, but he had been like on all these YouTube channels that he had learned like all this stuff I had never heard. So I made that video. I was super nervous to put it out. I put the video up, and I'm telling you, like, I'd never seen so much support in my comments section. I was scared. I was scared people were going to say that we're bringing up conspiracies. And what it was a lot of like heartfelt people saying, I feel the same way. I see these discrepancies, and I don't want to just believe somebody's guilty. I want to, you know, believe in innocent till proven guilty. And it started me down this journey. Now I started researching Dot after that, and we all know it didn't work out well for me. But I've also learned, you know, you can research these. Anyway, I don't know what my point is. I didn't consider myself a guilter, but then I realized how closed off I was from the actual events of what's going on when I just listened to those mainstream articles. I clearly need to get off the live stream because I'm rambling now. I keep trying to get my husband to come back on YouTube, but he just tells me he doesn't have time for YouTube. See, I'm on my own. All right, I'm gonna call it a day, you guys. I just really appreciate you coming out and giving me such an active chat. It was a last minute live, and I was only planning on streaming for like 20 minutes. So thanks. And Mrs. Potts, I don't know if one of my mods could drop a link to her channel. She's been going live lately, and I found your live streams really insightful. A lot of legal analysis. And with that, I'm going to let all of you go. My members, I will see you at 4 o'clock. Am I muted? I will see you at 4 o'clock, and we'll have just a private screening of the hearing. And everyone else, thank you for supporting me. If you could please hit that like button before you leave, I'd greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All of this is, oh, good, Heather. Thank you for showing up. Christy, could you drop, oh, you just did drop Heather's. All right, I'm going to go. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day.